Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sam and I'm an instructional designer working in tech. In this video, I wanted to kind of give you a high-level overview of the instructional design interview process, starting from once you've started applying and you get that first phone screen all the way to what happens at the end when you get that final offer and everything that happens in between. If that sounds good to you, give this video a thumbs up and let's get into it. The very first step in this ID interview process is what's called a phone screen. Now, a phone screen is conducted usually by a recruiter, and a recruiter is the person who either reviewed the resume that you had sent in, or they had, scouted through LinkedIn and on your profile and reached out to you to, connect and maybe have a phone call. The phone screen stage is kind of where the recruiter is going to get all of that baseline information from you. So they'll ask you questions in this phone screen, such as, tell me about yourself, tell me about your experiences, what are you looking for in your next role? Are you open to work in the next, are you open to a new job? Why do you want to leave your current role? What drew you to X company if you're the one that applied, etc. So they're getting all these basic interview questions out of the way because that's kind of their role as the recruiter. After your call with the recruiter, what's going to happen is one of two things. They're either going to say, oh, this doesn't seem like the right fit at the right time, and they'll either let you know or they might unfortunately ghost you. Don't take that personally. You can always, if you don't hear from a recruiter, give it a few days and then follow up and just say, hey, had a great chat with you. Just wanted to see if you needed anything else from me. Thanks, something like that if you really wanted to follow up. But the other thing that can happen after your phone screen is that they can say, oh, this person seems like a great candidate, so I'm going to pass your information on to the hiring manager. So step 2 is then setting up a phone call with and talking to the hiring manager. Now, the hiring manager is the person who put in the request for this role to be filled. So it's generally going to be someone that's probably going to be your manager. They're going to probably start to ask you more behavioral questions as well as process questions. If you're interested in more specific questions that they will ask you, I'll leave my video where I cover all the 5 most commonly asked interview questions here. I'll also link it down in the description. It's a fun one. These are all questions that I've been asked and I've asked as a hiring manager or as someone who is doing the interviews. So after your call with the hiring manager, again, this can go one of 2 ways. The first way is they can, they might say that, hey, this isn't a good fit, but reach out in the future if you see another role. But the second, more ideal option is they say, hey, we thought you were a great fit. We're going to move you on to the next stage, which is stage 3. Stage 3 really is 2 parts. They're going to send you a take-home assignment, a take-home project, and then you're going to have a panel interview, which is when you're going to be talking to 3 or 4 people on the team or people who work adjacent to the team. You're going to answer, again, basic interview questions, but each person on that panel is going to be focusing on one person might focus on leadership skills, one person might focus on curriculum development skills, one person might focus on technical or data skills. And so each person on that panel is going to be focusing on something different. You're also then going to be sharing your project or your presentation for the take-home project. And if you're curious about that take-home project, I do have a video about that as well. This has been the only take-home project in my almost 6 years of instructional design. This is usually what I get. So I think this is a pretty useful video if you want to check it out. So for the panel interview, sometimes they'll have 2 people interviewing you at a time. Sometimes they'll have 3 people interviewing you at a time. But they will also have it, sometimes they'll have it where, you have a 30-minute call, a 30-minute call, a 30-minute call, where each person from the panel is in their own separate call. So you only have to talk one at a time. If you find that you have at least 4 people that you're talking to, it's okay to reach out to the recruiter and be like, hey, can I split this up between days? Now, I don't always recommend this, but sometimes, you just got to do what you got to do to be able to perform at your best and split up the panel interviews if you need to. So after the panel interview and after you've presented your portfolio project, then, things, as I mentioned before, can either go one of 2 ways. The first is the panel interviewers felt that maybe your skill set wasn't exactly aligned with what the role needs. So you'll get the message, thank you for applying, but we've decided, to not move forward with your candidacy. But on the opposite, the more desired outcome is that you get a call from the recruiter and they'll say, or an email actually, they'll be like, oh my gosh, like the team really loved you. We just need you to do like one final call with the hiring manager just to iron out everything and make sure that we're all aligned on what you want and make sure that aligns with what the manager wants to. Second to final stage is the final call with the hiring manager. The final call with your hiring manager can go a few ways. They might need additional information from you. If that's the case, then just, make sure that you're prepared. They could just talk to you more informally about what's going on in the job. But at the same time, I always recommend staying as professional as possible after that call. Then if everything goes well, you'll get that exciting phone call or email that's like, all right, the team loved you, the hiring manager loved you, we'd love to make you an offer. And that's always a fun email to get. At this point, once you get that email, that's when you want to talk about your compensation, make sure you're negotiating it higher than you think you should. When your start date is, you want to ask any clarifying questions about like benefits and insurance, just to make sure everything is on the same page. And then once you've, figured that all out, then they'll send you the offer letter, which will contain your start date and your salary. So that's at a high level what the interview process looks like for an instructional design role. If you have any additional questions about it and that whole process, feel free to leave them down below. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.